What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 111 of Value Town. I'm ChanManV, and joining me, of course, is Noxious, my co-host. What's up, buddy?
Not much, man. Not much in the Hearthstone life.
In the
Away
Hearthstone,
from
not
Hearthstone.
much in the Hearthstone life, man. Where have you been? Where have you been the last few
I mean,
days?
there's a lot, but there's not enough yet. I still don't know what's
Yeah.
going on. Like
I-
we've seen a few cards from the new expansion, so
The drip,
not much.
Let the drip feed commence, right?
Yeah.
But I want to welcome to the show the dirty rats of the Hearthstone community, Ratsmah. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, guys?
And then, go ahead.
Oh no, that's pretty much it. I was making a comment on
What's up, guys?
how you invited two guys with rats in it, but we're good.
Also, that you chose to call us dirty rats and not the rat
yeah.
pack.
Oh, the rat pack
Could have been a little bit nicer.
Oh, the rat pack would have been so much better. Shoot, why
Mhm.
did I don't know. Anyways, the rat too. What's up, buddy?
Not so much. It's going good. It's going good.
All right, good. Well, anyways, lots of big news in the the Hearthstone community. Lots to talk about the expansion, so we'll be spending a lot of time on that, as well as the patch was released, and including the patches were the big arena changes. So Ratsmah's going to give us the lowdown. We haven't had a State of the Arena type of episode in a while, so Ratsmah's back to give us the lowdown. HCT Asia happened last weekend, and boy, was that interesting. So we'll just touch on that a little bit, and then Q&A at the end. So, Journey to Ungoro. That's right? Ungoro, right?
Ungoro.
Ungoro. Okay, sorry.
I listened to Ben Bros say it, so I'm just like, probably Ungoro. If he says it that way.
Ungoro, okay.
Seems good.
Man, they made that California backyard really look like a jungle.
I know, right?
Was that really a California backyard? No.
I mean,
way.
I'm assuming. I mean, did they go out of Orange County to shoot it?
I mean, I
doubt
was
it.
assuming it's like a green screen or something like.
Okay, sure.
Maybe.
That's
Maybe.
It looked
Yeah.
pretty real to me. I think
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I think it wasn't definitely like in like a real environment.
They had some props, that's for sure, like ferns and stuff like that. But,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyways, the new expansion, is last. I know the leak came out like a while ago, so we kind of knew it was Journey to Ungoro, and it was, going to be a bunch of dinosaurs and whatnot. But this is the official release. They had a video too of the two, Ben and the two of them just out there in the camp and camping outside and just telling us a little bit about it. But I guess the big announcement is that they announced a couple new mechanics as well as a few cards that were, give us an example of some of the class cards that are going to be around. So why don't we start? Let's just go through this post and start with the first thing that we see. So first thing says adapting to their surroundings. They show a volcano card, which is a shaman card that's 5 mana, rare, deal 15 damage, randomly split among all minions, overload 2. So, given that elemental destruction is disappearing, this seems like something that might at least fit in the same slot that that gap that's going to be there whenever elemental destruction is going to be gone. What do you guys think about this card?
RNG.
RNG, baby.
That's it? That's all your thoughts? That's pretty cool.
I don't think about it like that at all. Like 15 damage is so much. Usually, like you clear the board. So basically, the idea here is that it doesn't overload you for like all your mana, which is a huge problem with the LED. The card's basically unplayable unless you have the lava shock.
Yep.
But Volcano actually has the added benefit of being able to take like a solo mountain giant out.
Yeah.
Or like a mountain giant with another minion, which is important because it's like a critical flaw in AoE spells like this. Like, well, what if my opponent just plays a big guy, and then all of a sudden my spell just does 4 damage to everything, but only has 1 guy, and it kind of solves that problem, which is like good, but I don't know if the card's good.
Yeah.
It's an interesting card to play around, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to think like what kind of like formation of minions do you need to play around Volcano? You think you could play this with like Acolyte of Pain in Shaman?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's something you would want to include in Shaman because they're already so stacked on 3s. But the idea is definitely like playing around it. If you drop Acolyte against a Shaman, suddenly that turn 5 removal looks a lot more awkward.
Yeah.
It's like kill your board, draw 3 cards. Seems bad.
Outside of that,
just
though,
feels awkward.
Outside of like playing an Acolyte, like how do you really play around the card? Which is kind of a problem, right? The cards, unless if I'm not playing minions on the board as a Shaman, it's actually like quite hard for my opponent to play around Volcano.
Yep, exactly.
because you can't go tall and you can't go wide.
So
You go tall
Shaman,
and wide.
tall and wide,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So Shaman with another good tool in their tool.
I think it is a great tool. Yeah, I think it's. I almost want to say underrated. Like the first reaction of all my chat when they saw this card was, "Oh, RNG is being pushed into Hearthstone again," which of course is the stupidest thing you could say about this card. I think of all the things you could say, this card is very consistent at doing what it does in the right archetype, and
I mean-
that's kind of spooky. Like if you think about where it fits.
I mean, it's a control
Because-
archetype, right?
Yeah, but it's really difficult to counter it. Like if the shaman just decides to not give you breathing room onto the board, this is better than destruction for the most part for them.
So let's debate that a little bit, whether it's better than
Sure.
destruction, because definitely versatility-wise, no question that's where the biggest argument for this card being better than destruction. But though, obviously we've played a lot of control shaman. At least I know me and Noxious have, and
Yeah.
elemental destruction being at 3 mana was always a really great thing, given that I could play something behind it, something
Like
significant.
lava shock.
I mean, well, you can play Lava Shock either that turn or the next turn. It was really dependent upon like what you had in your hand. But you could play up
okay.
to 7 mana behind it a lot of times. And 7 mana from the standpoint of tempo, I mean, that was very key in a lot of situations. And so that I think that smaller mana cost up front ended up working out. Even though in the end this ends up costing like 1 more. I think Elemental Destruction ended up costing 1 more at 8. But the cheap up front aspect to it was very crucial in my opinion. So what are your thoughts on that?
No. Go ahead. Th3Rat.
Like, so you very rarely ever use LED on 3. So the
Yeah.
mana cost is like pretty irrelevant. Like let's say like as an uncurve removal, like obviously there's like situations where you would, but I'd say the majority you aren't using it uncurve. So like obviously 3 mana you can play something often alongside of it, but I don't know. I played against a lot of shamans, and I feel like usually they end up having to remove the board before turn 10. So I don't see like necessarily getting a 7-drop. Like also since this does cost 5, if you want to talk like turn 10, you can play a 5 mana thing. Ultimately, like you would build your deck so that it would run cards that you could probably play alongside of it. In the end of the game, like maybe before you'd be able to play 7-drops with LED, but now you just play 5-drops instead.
Yeah.
But I think that like with Noxious, to Noxious' point earlier, like 15 damage is a lot.
It is
like
a
if I don't
lot.
have any of my own minions on the board, it's almost always just going to kill all of your minions.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the death rattles would trigger during the card. I'm pretty sure they don't, because they usually
No,
don't.
they usually don't. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So
So that's even
but
more guaranteed to hit, I guess, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That would be actually pretty crazy. So in Arena, Ratsmah, I know we're going to get to it in a second, but obviously spells are going to be a lot more popular now. Is this card, well, okay, first off, was this card good before that change? And is it good after that change?
Oh, both. This card is so good. Like usually you hear a lot of people complain about Flame Strike, but what Flame Strike really usually does is it clears like maybe like 8. If you get like 12 health removed, usually that's a great Flame Strike. This thing is not limited to people playing something big and something small, and usually 15 health. They can't put 15 health on the board with you having nothing.
Yeah.
It's nearly impossible. So this
You
is
can
a
just
free
trade
board
your
clear.
minions too.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, even if you don't trade your minions, or if you don't have a board, they usually won't be able to put 15 health on the board. Is the case that I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
Because it's such a back and forth game. No one's behind by an entire turn or a turn and a half. So 15 health with 10 mana is really hard to produce on a board with one turn.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, it's just so good. It's gonna be one of the best shaman rares. I don't
Rare
like let
too.
it be. Yeah, a lot of the shaman threats and even threats in arena are that cost 5 or less. So you can play this, clear the board, and then develop your own threat. So it's so good.
Yeah, developing your own thread too I think that's going to be just a huge aspect to this too.
It's kind of like the new Abyssal.
Yeah. If I let you play
absolutely.
4 minions in a row without doing anything, you still don't even have 15 power. Like or 15 toughness. Like 15
You're
is
still
just a
clearing
ton.
this up. Yeah.
That's
That's
true.
crazy.
That is
So
pretty
nuts.
crazy. And for control a shaman, that's just beautiful because
I mean, we're losing healing wave though. Like that's the one thing that sucks is like we're losing the best. Well, I'm exaggerating maybe a bit, but one of the highest. Yeah, Genius Water Speaker is great, but it's like if I want to play Volcano, then that Genius just doesn't like meshes well with the deck,
Mhm,
the healing wave. So in a weird way, I feel like healing wave going away makes control shaman weaker, and then suddenly do you really want to play that deck? But on the flip side, we'll see what happens with elementals, because that might be a thing. There might be a deck that's like full of bulky elementals at the top end, and you can actually afford to play a control deck. of
This
sorts
card is
with it.
unaffected by Volcano.
Is
Yeah.
is Hella Zeal still here? After
That'd be
reset?
so badass. I think it's in.
Hella Zeal still here? I forget.
Is
If
it
Hella
in
Zeal's
league?
still here, oh my god. Yeah.
I think it's in league. No. I thought it
Oh,
was in
it's
League of
Old Gods.
Explorers.
I'm pretty sure it's Whispers.
Oh yeah, it's Whispers.
Oh, I
you're
think
right.
it was Whispers. Yeah. So it's still
Oh
gonna
man,
be
it's
here.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, Shaman's still good in every way. It's still
Yeah, I
still
mean,
solid.
they clearly want to push the Shaman control archetype, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's
and it's
definitely
good.
great.
It's good. Can anybody not complain, please?
Yeah, I like
I'm
the
sure.
control shaman.
I'm sure some people just don't like the idea of shaman getting yet another archetype, but if that's the dominant archetype of their class, I don't mind it. I think
It's always been solid.
I'm
It's just
happier.
it was just never tier 1, 2, or 3. I think control shaman. There was always
tier
tools
2
for
for
it.
a while. I don't know, dude. It's really not that far behind.
Yeah, it's not that far off. It's always it's got the right tools. It's just it needed the other archetypes to weaken a bit before it could be viable. Okay, let's look at this next card, which brings up the elemental tribe, which they are trying to push this as part of a journey to Ungoro. I think the beast and the elementals would be the two big ones. But the elemental is the one that I didn't anticipate necessarily. So what they're doing with the elemental is not only are they going to be adding cards that are elementals, but they're also redesignating some of the older cards to be elementals. So I think some of the examples were Alakir, I believe. Let me see. What were some of the others, if you guys remember? I think Ragnaros, right?
Oh, Ragnaros, all the Ragers are going to be changed.
Yeah, the Ragers are all
the
changed.
Unbound Elemental, Fireguard Destroyer, Fire Elemental, Frost Elemental. There's a bunch of them, dude. What elemental is changing? Even Pyro's a little Phoenix from Mages is going to be that.
Yeah. So there's going to be a lot more elementals, and that just means there's got to be synergistic elemental cards coming too. But one of the ones that they showed us was Pyros, which is a mage legendary. And given that we're talking about legendaries, just up front, they have said that each class will get 2 legendaries, 1 quest and 1 minion. So this one is the mage, the mage minion here. That's legendary. And so this card, I believe, is a pretty. There's an exact parallel to this, possibly like in Magic or something, where it's a 2 mana Pyros. It's a 2/2 elemental. Death Rattle. Return this to your hand as a 6/6 that costs 6. And then I believe the 6/6 is basically the same thing that returns to your hand as a 10 drop, 10/10. So it's like a perpetual card that scales up, but doesn't scale up like Jade, which is like scaling up on the board. It actually scales up in your hand, so you have to spend the mana. Ratsmah, what do you think about this in Arena first?
It's not bad. We've kind of moved into a meta where it's like answer or like question response meta. You go back and forth. You're not really like building too much tempo on a board. You keep getting cleared and then you clear your opponent. So this gives you another thing to just throw on the board, and it comes back. It's just another thing you just throw on the board. Try to waste their answers. So it's not bad in that sense. If it was like a common card, then it'd be much better. But it's probably the same power level as like Tomb Spider, which you can get another Tomb Spider and just keep doing that. But because tempo is such a big factor in Arena, this compared to other legendaries, things that cheat mana, it really doesn't compare with the best ones, but it's probably slightly above average.
Yeah, so better than
Legendary
Millhouse
pool.
Manastorm, worse than Antonidas or something.
There you go.
I mean,
Something
it
like that.
definitely benefits from being in Mage, right? Like, I feel like
Yeah.
that class works better with trading up with the hero power than most.
Oh yeah, so the 2/2
Yeah.
and the 6/6 isn't as bad trading into like a River Croc or a Boulder Fist,
Yeah.
but it's just
It's still
okay.
not that great. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it'd be a lot worse in a class that doesn't have a hero power that lets you trade up stats on the board.
Yeah,
I mean, there are a lot of
that's
bad legendaries in Arena, so this will
Yeah,
probably be the right pick
exactly.
a good amount of the time, but probably not the best pick all the time.
All right, so how is this in Standard? What do you guys think?
Well, here's
Or, I mean,
one
sorry,
of the things
ladder,
people
rank
looked at
ladder.
this like this made sense in Arena world. I'm like, yeah, okay. maybe infinite value, like return with N'Zoth. People have thought about that, but since Reno's going away, I don't think Kazakus Mage is going to be enough. I mean, we'll have to see. I just like the card. I just like the concept of the card. It's a card that can fit pretty much everywhere. You can build a value deck and get value from it. You can try to go for a more board-centric deck that's not value-oriented and still get, you know, some decent mileage out of it. So I still don't know what the perfect home for it is, but I get the weird vibe we're gonna get like a duplicate for elementals, and that could be a perfect fit. I'd love to see it like an Echo of Medivh for Ellie's or something.
Oh God.
With that card, I think this would be fantastic.
Yeah, I was hoping that this kind of card would have made it into Hunter actually instead of Mage.
Oh
or
God,
a class. I mean, a class that just has trouble drawing cards. Like the draw mechanic was nerfed a long time ago and it just never returned to the class. And this type of card that continually gives you a card back benefits it, or at least allows them to fill a gap, you know, that is there right now. Mage doesn't really have that an issue with drawing cards. They've got all kinds of cards they can draw, random cards or, you know, just intellect.
Yeah, well, the idea is that Mage could just play like less threats, and they get to play more answers,
right?
Because this card has more value.
I see what you mean.
Hunter kind of wants to have like decent stats on the board, so like the 2/2 would be like more of a boon to them than it would be to Mage, for instance. But one thing that's interesting that you point out is that this card would have actually been pretty good, I think, in a hand buff class, like one of the classes that buffs cards in your hand. Like, so in Hunter, for instance, when it dies, it comes back. Like, I can play it on 2, and then it dies, and it comes back, and then I can, like, play one of those cards that buffs a beast in hand, for instance, which is, like, interesting, because then that means that as long as I have it, I always have a beast in my hand, so to speak, or like, at least I have it on the board.
Yeah,
so you always have something to buff
it's
in your hand.
consistency, right? Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay.
Yeah, as far as how good it will be, to Noxious's point, I really hope that Kazakus Mage isn't the thing.
Yeah.
Because if people complained about Reno decks before, if a deck is still good enough with just Kazakus,
I'll be tired of it, man.
it's gonna need to hinge a lot on the Kazakus potion, which is like, I already think is like pretty OP. Like the 5-mana Kazakus potion is just so under costed for what it accomplishes.
I know, right?
Compared to like playing a 3/3 on the board.
Do you ever play Kazakus in Arena, Ratsmah? Okay.
Yeah, you get it every once.
Yeah,
you get it? Okay, all right.
Yeah, someone played on Shocky.
The 10-mana potions are pretty game winning because it's just like huge tempo, and you just can't come back from that.
Yeah,
it's kind of dumb.
Shocky posted the guy's deck list. He like went back and recorded and posted the guy's deck list in our Skype group, and he was like, "This guy played a wild deck in Arena, and they had Kazakus in it."
Oh, that's pretty sick. But you know, I didn't really think about the death rattle aspect of this, so it could be interesting.
I mean, I'll say something too. Like now that we're on the topic of death rattle, like if Reno Priest stays a thing because you know, new quest, blah blah blah. If that ends up staying around, right? If Reno Priest stays around, then like the Kazakus potion in that deck is just really good because you can resummon death rattles, trigger the quest faster, get N'Zoth value. It's like, I feel like the Reno archetype or the Highlander one might still have a home, but maybe not in Mage and Warlock. Like, I really just don't want Mage and Warlock to be added again. Like, I think the factions have like done their time. Like, I need the Jade faction and the Cabal faction to just phase out a bit and let other cards come in and do something else. Because I think the whole Kazakus meta is just, it's too much. It's just like classes revolve.
I hope that Kazakus is only viable in possibly one class. That's about it. I mean, I wouldn't even mind if it just wasn't viable at all. But if it's viable in something, please just be one class. But yeah, so getting to I guess your point about death rattle. I guess let's just skip this. Let's just talk about the quest and the death rattle since it kind of came up.
Sure.
So one of the things that was announced too was just the whole concept of quests, which are essentially going to be these spells. They're officially classified as spells. So they'll be in your hand when you play it. It's going to act as a spell. So people have been theorizing around Pyromancer and things like that. But once you play it, it shows up like a secret on your hero, but your opponent can actually see what it is too. And I thought that was really cool. I thought the fact that it's completely, just a transparent thing is great actually for the game. But then they showed the priest one, and the priest one is just basically the quest is It's called Awaken the Makers. Summon 7 Death Rattle minions. Reward Amara, Warden in the Hope. And Amara is definitely a card very similar to something we've talked about either on the show through Mechatorps or maybe even last week. I think somebody had
I think it was last week,
Yeah,
Mechatorps or something. I forget. But...
And we've discussed it many times. It's a 5-mana 8/8 legend. It's taunt, which is nice, but then Battlecry sets your hero's health to 40, which is praise, hallelujah. Like I've been wanting like this type of change for a long time for priests, and being able to actually alter your hero's health is something that's this is like a precedent for. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about this whole quest. What do you guys think of just the general quest mechanic being added? Noxious, I'll have you start off.
Well, personally, I like the idea of a quest. The thing is, basically the way it works is you always have it in your opening hand, right? Like that's the one first thing we need to remember. And so that means you can actually build a deck around it and not hope on a 50-50 basis that you're going to find it by turn 6. You know what I mean? Like it's always going to be something you're going to build towards because the opponent knows what it is as soon as it comes down and they know what exactly you're going to be doing. So I expect all the quests to be 1 mana. I haven't heard confirmation, but I expect them to be that way. And then you're going to be able to just build towards it throughout the game. Now, the thing about quests, though, is that if their reward is objectively too good, then it basically makes every single class play a quest deck. So you have to be cautious about, how good that is, right? Like, you can't just make it so every single class wants to complete their quest because that's the best way for them to win. In the case of Priest, for instance, they reset their health to 40, but that doesn't mean they win the game. Like, it's a very, very good effect. It's fantastic. It's probably going to mean that they're able to extend the game into fatigue at that stage if they've been able to play 7 Death Rattles, but it doesn't mean they've won the game. So it depends what the other classes have. As far as whether or not this quest fits Priest, it'll come down, I think, to whether or not Onyx Bishop is viable in those types of decks. And I almost get a feeling that Death Rattle Priest is not going to be as good as a like Kazakus-ish approach to it, which I don't know if you have enough Death Rattles to do it, but I'm just getting that weird vibe when I look at the card.
I was looking at the Death Rattle list last night with, thank goodness that Whispers of the Old Gods is still in.
Dude.
Oh my god, Whispers of the Old Gods was gone. We'd have literally no viable Death Rattles. So we still have a decent set, but I wouldn't say that any of them are particularly powerful. They're all just like solid cards, and they're probably better in Arena, to be honest, like just from a relative standpoint than they are in Standard.
I mean, 7 Death Rattles. That's a lot of Death Rattles.
So they gotta add a bunch. I'm expecting there to be a bunch of new ones coming out.
So maybe that's the way you do it, right? You just go like you play Blood Mage Thanos, Loot Hoarders, Harvest Golem, Infested Torrent, Shifting Shade shenanigans, Onyx Bishop, of course, to resurrect them, and then your Kazakus Potion, you just resurrect random stuff. So you just bring back Death Rattles, and that triggers the quest like so quick. So you're almost guaranteed to get the full health.
Sounds like a lot of setup.
It is a summon effect.
It definitely is a lot of setup. And
I don't know if this could be a replacement for Reno. I mean, you still have to draw into the quest, right?
No, it's in your starting hand. Always.
You have to use the mana,
and the card gets added to your hand when you complete the reward.
I see.
Yeah,
so it is still probably a bit slower than Reno, right? You still got to play the 5 mana card at the end and all those Death Rattles.
It's definitely slower than
Reno.
It's slower but more consistent. I see.
Yeah, I think the quest mechanic is basically terrifying. I'm not sure actually how fun it is, and I think that this quest in particular is already like pretty discouraging. Personally, I think that, like you said, you get to see that your opponent's on the quest. Like, does that? Well, first off, there's only one quest in each class, so obviously I know what my opponent's quest is. So it doesn't really matter if they show me.
Well, I think it shows you progress too, which
yeah,
I
know.
Yeah, you know where they are at.
It's like you would have known what it was anyways. But anyways, the thing that gets me about this quest in particular is that it's just play 7 Death Rattles.
Yeah,
like there's no counterplay. Like it's not like it's 6 Death Rattles go off and all of a sudden I can run Silence, or I can they're about to complete their quest, so I steal their minion with Sylvanas or something. Like it's just play 7. So like I hope the other quests are more like I can actually spar with my opponent and getting them not to complete their quest, because I think that not allowing counterplay to the quest kind of puts us in a scenario where we're doing the same thing that people just complained about for the last 3 months, only in a different way, which is that you give them one powerful card that is able to make the rest of their cards viable in the deck, and the whole deck is geared and built. It builds itself. you know, like Noxious said, if every class has to
there's
play a
nothing-
quest, then the decks all just build themselves, and everyone just got done complaining about how they felt like Blizzard's been making them build specific decks. And like, so I don't know. This quest in particular, I can't see it going well. It's like one of those scenarios. People say this all the time, but it's either really like good or just really bad. And I don't see any like middle ground. Like, I feel like it's particularly difficult to balance a quest just for starters.
So I think I'm definitely in the same boat or same bucket as you with it. And I don't think the quest mechanic is terrifying. Actually, I think the quest mechanic is actually great, but it really depends on how you use it. And with this first one, this is exactly what I didn't want them to like. I don't want them to use it this way, which is basically, like you said, just build a deck. It's like simple, you know, just throw death rattles in it, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're set up to perform this quest. There's no counterplay. There's no way of your opponent trying to prevent you from even getting there. So having the Death Rattle trigger would have even just been a better step towards you know, making this good. But I just want to get away from the quest even, you know, almost requiring you to build a deck a certain way, at least tribally, you know, like with the same categories. The last thing I want to see is druids get elementals or beasts, you know.
Oh, they're getting beasts, dude. I'm telling you right now, they are playing beasts.
I mean, I don't want the quest to involve like those type of cards. Like, I want the quest to be gameplay oriented, like something that involves, you know, interaction with your opponent and having some counter on those actual scenarios. Yeah. I think that would actually be a lot more interesting. And yeah, right now it's just like if it's all just like build your deck this way, and then it's just like I'm just building a Jade deck. I'm just throwing Jade stuff in my deck, and it's like easy.
There's a lot more left to see too. Like, are they all going to be 1 mana? Like, they're giving you the option if you want to mulligan it or not. But if your deck's designed to complete the quest, then why would I ever mulligan it for 1 mana? It's not like I'm gonna need cards to go up against aggro, regardless if my deck's designed to do my quest. Like, I'm still gonna want the quest in my opening hand. So yeah, I don't know. It gives you an extra card, not extra in addition, but it gives you like an extra card for Pyromancer, like you said. But I don't know how relevant that really is.
Yeah. In Arena, Ratsmah, is this even
how
playable?
do quests even work in
like,
Arena? Like, how do they even work in Arena? Are you gonna draft them? Like, that seems pretty bad. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
With like Cthulhu and a lot of Cthulhu cards, right? With the Cthulhu buff effects, is they just remove Cthulhu entirely from the arena, so you can't get them offered. They may do something similar to that. I could definitely see that, because it is very hard to get a certain theme going in Arena. Like, even this one seems simple enough, but with Nax gone, especially, a lot of death rattles are bad. And I'm just gonna talk about Priest in specific. Even Dark Cultist is gone. Like, what do you have now? You have Infested Tauren and Wallbring Runts. They're not very good cards.
God,
there's no way that they let you draft these. I don't think these are going to be draftable in Arena. I'd be shocked if they found a way to incorporate it.
Well,
I hope they will be. It'll be a lot of fun trying to chase that, but you know,
if they let you draft it and then they all like based on if you drafted this or not, it changes like pick percent or offer percentages of death rattle for you.
The technology is not there, Shane. Come on.
I mean, also it depends on what the other quests, how the other quests are designed, right? If it's all like this one or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If it's like a mage quest that like costs 3 mana, but then if you use 5 spells, you get like, I don't know, a 5/5 Thalnos for 5 or something. That's what I want to see, though. I don't want to see. It's kind of interesting because I don't really want to see quests where it's like, oh, I'm gonna build death rattles and get Amara, and then I'm gonna set myself to 40, which I think actually this card's insane. Like, I think setting yourself to 40 health is a lot better than maybe Noxious gave it credit. But
I think it's fantastic, but I don't know if it's like the thing about those quests is that they're the effects are so crazy that they're like huge swings. I mean, I'm kind of tired of, unless they're back and forth and eventually ends. And like, I remember designing that mechanic for an episode of like custom card creation about a year and a half ago. And my idea of a quest was that you had like random minions with quests on them, like 2 mana 3/2 for hunters that read, do something like kill a minion with a weapon, and at the end of your turn draw a card. So if you had a weapon equipped, you played it, you kill something, quest complete, draw a card. So you would have like small incremental quests as opposed to one big deck building thing.
That's pretty much like the Enrage and Acolyte of Pain mechanic and like Wild Pyro. They're like those are just effects and triggers.
Kind of quest, right? Like
right.
Kind of
adaptive
quest
quests
as well. I would have liked to see
There
quests
wasn't-
that don't give you huge swing cards that are just like easier to complete. Like just like something like I don't know. This is just off the top of my head, but like it could be like a 2-mana or a 1-mana mage secret, or I mean quest that says like play like 4 spells by turn 8 and get 2 blood mages added to your hand or something. I don't know, just like something that's just like
it's
less
nice.
like,
it's incremental. It's not like
yeah, something
just
like
game
like if
ending
you complete
type
it,
of thing.
it gives you cards that are beneficial, but it doesn't give you a card that wins the game. Like something that doesn't like isn't a detriment to the rest of your deck so heavily that like if you don't reach the quest, you're probably just losing.
Yeah.
Emote greetings at 12 health.
Dude, how awesome!
I mean, I
would it
want
be-
to see.
I want to see
man.
emote quests. Can
Yes,
can you
please.
emote thank you or well played like 5 times before your opponent squelches you or something stupid like that? That would be hilarious.
This could be an achievement, though.
That would be an achievement. Yeah.
Achievements. It's a good idea, Noxious. Told Blizzard about that one.
Never.
Well, so anyways, I'm very curious to see what the other classes are, but it's very curious that they showed this one first. I think they showed this one first mostly for Amara because Amara is so impressive. But quest-wise, I'm hoping this is not one of the better quests because that will be concerning.
Okay, here we go, dude. They're removing Ragnaros from standard, but they're slapping it onto the Shaman quest. I'm calling it, dude. If you summon like 7 elementals, they
You
summons
get Rag
Ragnaros
back
the
in the
Fire Lord.
standard.
Yeah.
You get Rag
Precisely.
back in the Oh man, there's be people raging after that. Okay, well let's talk about the other new mechanic that they introduced, which was Adapt. And in introducing Adapt, they showed a Druid card. And to explain Adapt is basically, in this particular case, it's a battle cry. And what you get to do with this Verdant Longneck, which is a 5-mana 5/4 beast, is you get to choose. You basically discover 3 buffs out of 10 that are possible. And in this case, you get to adapt this card. So you get to place whatever buff that you choose onto this card. So they listed out 6. They showed 6 in the video, but we know all 10 of them. So just to list them out, they are Death Rattle, summon 2 1/1 plants, +3 attack, can't be targeted by spells or hero powers, Divine Shield, Wind Fury, Taunt. The other 4 are, let me bring them up real quick. The other 4 are Volcanic Might, +1/+1, Rocky Carapace, +3 health, Stealth until your next turn. And then the last one is Destroy any minion damaged by this one, which is poisonous. It basically makes it poisonous. So pretty powerful ones. I mean, some of them kind of, you figured it would be like +3 attack, but there are a couple that kind of surprised me that they added. But generally speaking, at least with the example that they're giving here and maybe what we've heard, what do you guys think of Adapt? Ratsmah, you want to start?
I mean, I don't even think this is a new mechanic. It's a mix between like discover and choose one. And of course you don't get the card. That's why it's more like choose one and it's activated immediately. Like in Arena, I do think it will end up being a good card because what you tend to see as we get more expansions, the discover mechanic becomes more powerful than just a solid spider tank, right? Cabal Courier is so much more powerful because you get options, and options tend to win games in Arena now. So I think the adapt cards will be strong, but I mean, it's not like a crazy new mechanic. It's not that exciting.
Interesting.
Yeah, it all depends on how they do it. Honestly, like actually for some reason I thought Adapt was gonna let me pick 2 for some reason, but regardless,
oh my god.
Yeah, and I thought they were
ridiculous.
Yeah, because the 5-mana 5/4 was so bad that it had to be 2, right?
Yeah, I mean, basically. First off, I would say that 10 choices is too many. Like we already just made. I feel like they already just made a mistake. Like 10 choices gives like too much of a range. Like before, if you make a smaller amount of choices, let's say, adapt gets like more interesting. Because first off, I like the mechanic, but I think it could be like even better if you had maybe less options. Like let's say I have this dinosaur in my hand, and I don't need a taunt yet. Maybe I can afford to play like an Azure Drake and draw. Obviously, Azure Drake's going to be gone, but I want the taunt for later instead of like maybe a long neck with Divine Shield on it now, and it kind of forces a decision where it's like, well, this long neck can be a defensive tool later when I need it better, so I'm gonna wait. But when you only get to pick 1 out of 3 out of 10, I feel like there's less reliability there. So then it's going to end up being more like, let me just play this card on curve and choose the best option for the situation that I'm currently in.
Right.
Since it's unreliable that you get a specific one. So yeah, I kind of, I don't know.
So the thing I agree with those. I agree, but to obviously both you and Ratsmah on the things that you said. I think the thing that I'm a little bit worried about with Adapt is the different ways that Adapt is going to be used on these cards. So this one's very straightforward. This one is, okay, you're going to adapt this card whenever it's played. So I think it's pretty clear as to evaluating what type of value that you're going to have while playing this card, or even your opponent has the card, how what he's going to end up with. There's a range that you can kind of like derive in your head. Now, what's a little bit scary is if it says something like Battlecry, adapt all the Murlocs on the board, or adapt all the beasts on the board.
+3 attack to everything. Seems good.
No, then all of a sudden it's like enhancement mechanic, like crazy.
No,
like
it's not random though. I mean, it's +3 attack. You get to pick what you want though.
I know, but if you pick
the
Wind
thing
Fury,
that,
and you pick...
like, I'll say one thing though, is that if you look at the options we're given, on average, I'd say there's like 3 very aggressive ones, 3 that are more defensive, and 4 that are like pretty versatile and that fit every role. So even though the range is not specifically, Wind Fury, 3 attack, I don't know exactly what he's getting. Like, can I BGH that adapt minion consistently? Which is a very extreme example. But, even though that's not something you can guarantee that's going to happen, and you're not going to start taking Blood Knight to beat Divine Shield, overall, you can still assume that if he's in a position of, being aggressive, he's going to pick one of these 3. And it's likely he finds one of the 3 because of the way that you get 3 out of 10. So you can usually make an assumption as to what type of things he's going to go for the adapt and what type of effect you can get on average.
Yeah,
the issue is that when the average doesn't hit, it's fucking atrocious.
Defensive,
There's
like
not
defensive,
gonna be defensive
or aggressive,
yeah.
or like neutral are like pretty different terms. I'd say, like you say, like there's 3 defensive options, but I mean, like, are there really the really only defensive option in the game is taunt? Honestly, like.
I mean, Poison Spit is pretty.
I mean, I think Poison Spit is definitely a defensive one.
On like a small minion, maybe, but not like on a 5/4 for 5.
Yeah, sure.
But like, look at some of the the choices. Like, can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. Like, that's pretty good when you want to have it. Like, Spectral Knight was a good card for a while because there were a bunch of mages. And like the summon 2 1/1 plants, that makes this card just like insane. Like in Arena, for instance, if you adapt into a summon 2 1/1 plants, like that's nuts. And like Divine Shield's also like, you only like, let's say like you pick Divine Shield because actually it's pretty good. Divine Shield's pretty good in general, but you only pick it like in situations where you want it. Divine Shield gets so much better if it's an option, where it's like, oh, they have 1/1s or they have a ping, so I'm just not going to take Divine Shield in this matchup.
Yeah,
that's definitely true in Arena. Like all the classes are so defined that you cannot be targeted against Mage or Priest, and you have board control, or you pick Wind Fury against Warlock. It's going to be really strong.
This is crazy.
In Arena for sure, but I don't know about Standard necessarily. That's the thing, though. I don't think this card, even with the best possible outcome in Standard, unless Beast Synergy is pushed, is ever making the cut. Unless I'm completely blanking.
I mean, if you push it down to
6
options, and like you kept some of the better ones, the card would definitely see play.
Yeah, for sure. At 10, I think
it will be. It won't be consistent. I give you guys that. But there are. I mean, I don't know what the math is on the probability of getting, just say, aggressive, adaptations. But if we end up going that route and we just go with very zoo-like, Murloc-like, just aggressive. Tribal type of decks, then this thing turns into potentially Bloodlust if Adapt is going to be used that way. If it's that
Maelstrom Portal though, like I love the pipe dream of Murlocs being a thing, but unless they show me a Murloc that buffs the health of all the other Murlocs, I assume they're not living past turn 3.
I mean, Finja's like, maybe the best card in the game, literally.
But does Finja make you want to play Big Gentle Dinosaur?
I don't think that it does make you. Well, I was arguing with someone last night, and I don't think that when Finja connects, you probably already have legitimately like a 70% win rate.
Exactly.
So you don't even need to buff the Murlocs, and you never played on curve because Murlocs on curve aren't good. But and that's where you get into a tricky position where all of a sudden, already in my mind, I'm sculpting this this deck where I don't really want to play Big Gentle Dinosaur because when Findra connects, I'm already winning. Then it's like, well, if I play on curve and my Murlocs live, and then I play Big Gentle Dinosaur, now apparently I'm just winning the game also outright. I don't know. It's the Murloc one is like really tricky to me. Like, I guess you can play Shaman and you can like call in the finishers and then adapt all of those and stuff.
I mean, there's definitely some scenario. I mean, I just feel like the top end of this thing is scary. It potentially is scary.
Especially with Sea Devil Stinger and Warlock. Like that guy's just a good card.
Yeah,
like,
dude. That one scares me. That's the only one that I'm actually legitimately worried about. With the Murloc synergy, I was gonna bring it up later because that, like, I've actually experimented with some Murloc Zoo and it's horrible because it's just not a thing right now. But if we get, it's not enough, I think.
I mean, post patch, like yesterday, for instance, or like I don't know, I'm in a lot of like groups with like better players and then like in Discord and stuff, and there's definitely some zoo lists going around. People played it in top 100 to have Murlocs in it.
That's amazing. I want to see this.
It's good. Dude, the whole Finja package is good.
Finja is just an insanely good card.
Purple's been like preaching this for months and months now, and so it's so funny that it's finally starting to hit into mainstream.
What is that Finja?
The Finja package, yeah.
I think everybody tried it out when like nobody said the package was. I've never heard anybody say the package was weak, and if they did, I definitely
viable. Like just even
people would ask me.
Yeah, it's very good, dude.
Yeah, people would be like, "Oh, should I DE Finja?" And I'd be like, "Look, man, if it's not good now, it'll be good.
It will be good
eventually because that card is a very high power level." Yeah,
dude, the Th3Rat summon 1/1. Can you imagine? I mean, that's like Soul of the Forest, like a mini Soul of the Forest in all these, and if you combo that with, I don't know, just even like Bloodlust for Shaman or something like that. It could be crazy. I'm just seeing scenarios where this could be crazy given.
Or your three choices could be like Wind Fury Taunt and something else that's garbage.
So it's the consistent.
And Poison Spit on a 5/4.
The inconsistency is the only thing that keeps it in.
Yeah. It would adapt for all, right? It wouldn't like let you choose because that'd be insane as well.
Yeah. Well, that would take forever to kind of go through too, one by one. But intriguing for sure. I'm just nervous. I'm just really nervous that the power is going to be too high on that one. Okay, let's see. The next thing, let's see, what else did they announce here? I don't know if was there any other new cards that they actually talked about? Let me see if I missed anything.
Well, you brought up the Murloc one indirectly, but yeah.
Yeah, let me show that.
Yeah,
the gentle Megasaur. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of weird that they revealed it now and then like they're not revealing another card for 16 days. Also, they said that they wanted to make it. Last year they said they wanted to do it before championships to spice up championships, and then I guess they decided against that.
Thank goodness. Like that would have been crazy.
Yeah, I mean I don't prefer it, but I really don't appreciate like them saying that that's probably going to happen and then it not happening. Which I think yesterday, the only reason they patched yesterday is because they said it would be late February when it didn't make any sense.
The 28th of February.
Which I don't even want to get into the competitive ramifications that had on the ladder, but yeah.
This one's actually an epic too, so I don't know. Maybe you guys would see it a little bit more.
I think it was leaked though. From my understanding, that was leaked so hard it wasn't even funny. I don't think that was intended to be shown to anyone. That specific dinosaur. So, the rest were definitely like from Blizzard, but that one wasn't.
Is this gonna be your typical community drip feed type of thing where everybody gets one? Do you guys
Maybe
know?
not the community one.
Have any of you guys? I actually don't know, and I've been like wondering and asking to see if we could get a card. But
so I want them to go. You know what? Screw this, and just randomly mid-March they go. All right, boys. Pack your bags. We're going to Ngoro. Unleash all the cards. 2 days later, we get like. I just want them to surprise me.
I wouldn't mind. Yeah.
But they said it was going to be early April. I don't want the timeline to be real because a month and a half just seems like dreadfully far away.
Yeah, it's funny because I only got to play one tournament in the last meta, and now I'm going to play like 3 tournaments in this meta, even though it's 1/3 the time.
yeah.
Which is like for me, it just doesn't make any sense. Yeah. I also don't really like the whole like take 3 weeks and keep revealing cards and stuff. Like,
I think it was fine the first time around. I mean, it was a nice gesture to the community when everybody got a card, and just kind of give everybody the spotlight for the day, and so I mean that was kind of cool. But I think at this point, it's it's not that like I think the community would rather just kind of get it all at once and get it quick, like soon after.
Well, here's how I look at it. Like
style.
Magic the Gathering didn't give people like card releases, and then Hearthstone did it, and now Magic does do it. So I think it's probably an effective marketing or hype.
Oh, of course
tool.
it is for like weeks and weeks.
Like yeah, but I think it's like maybe a little overplayed. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. One minor thing too is that they added the poisonous syntax to all the cards like Cobra and Assassin, like all the cards where if you do damage you destroy, the card that you do damage to. So yeah, a new term that's going to be used. I think it's smart. I think a lot of people agree with that change and have probably been asking for it for a while, just so we don't have all these words on the cards that aren't really necessary. So hopefully in the future they'll continue to do that. Just create more Hearthstone terms that we can use. The last bit, I think more reveals in March 17th. There's gonna be 5 neutral legends, and yeah, I think that's about it. So I think
it's interesting that they like only have the 5 neutral legends, and they're doing like 2 legendaries for each class. But I mean, like one of them's
a quest.
A quest, and they already revealed the mage one. So yeah.
I was hoping there'd be more. I was hoping there would be like 3 legendaries per class or something like that, but I don't know. That wouldn't be good for Ratsmah, the arena folks. You wouldn't see them quite as much.
Quest?
Yeah.
Oh man, I would love it though.
I'm just saying legendaries, just class legendaries. Oh, yeah.
Oh, they are more common now.
Yeah, they are. That's true.
Yeah.
Which we're gonna talk about in a second, but why don't we move on? And before we move on, we do want to give a shout out just to the folks on iTunes as well as our patrons for supporting the show. If you listen to the show on iTunes or Google Podcasts or SoundCloud, you just like to listen to the audio version, you can find them there shortly after each of the show. I usually get them up by the end of the night. But if you want to help out the show, you can leave a rating or a 5-star review, and that really helps out in a big way for folks to find Value Town when they're searching for Hearthstone podcasts. So I want to give a shout out to Dustin Payton, who's our latest person that has left a 5-star review. Thank you so much, man. And then, of course, Value Town is 100% funded by our Patreon at patreon.com/ValueTown, which you can see in the bottom right corner there. And we have all these great folks that are supporting us right now, and they're amazing. So always want to take some time to give them a shout out. We got some big legendary producers, Mike T and Dean P, of course. And then we have a new one, Eric Endel, that has joined into the legendary producer ranks. So thank you so much, Eric, for joining in, as well as a few of the others: Devin W, David H, Seb S, 2 Comic Kid, Dr. Daniel F, Andrew R, Zach M, and Enoch K. And there was a moment that we actually dropped below the Smilestone, but then Eric came in and saved us, and we still have the Smilestone, baby. So you know what
we're
time
sorry,
it is, guys.
Ratsmah, we're sorry. We apologize.
Actually, Ratsmah, do you know about this? Oh, Ratsmah doesn't even know about this. I didn't tell him.
All
right, this is where we have to give our best smile for 20 seconds because it's called Smilestone. All right, here we go. Starting now. You can talk too. Just make sure you just smile the entire time.
You got Noxious baby in the background.
Oh, we're really doing this for 20 seconds. Huh?
You're ruining it. Okay, that was 20 seconds. Good job, guys. Good job on that. Man, thanks so much.
They call it cringe stone somewhere.
There's definitely like this group of people that are just like, oh my god, so cringe, but they love it. And then there's other people that just absolutely love Smilestone. So.
You look like losers. You gotta stop this. It's like, well, enjoy it right now.
That's right, man. We all need a little Smilestone, in Hearthstone.
That's a new ad.
Yeah, right. Thanks to the patrons for, again, enabling that milestone, and hopefully it continues. Let's talk